right, peace and love. What up, though? What it do? What's popping? What's cracking? What's happening? And then think we all know. If you don't know, you're gonna find out. What this afternoon? We're doing a 5 p.m. Eastern time. We got the brother Ramzu on the line, and man, um, I know it's quite um hard to be humble, when you do an introduction for yourself, but who better to do it for you than self? Peace, God.
No, peace. Others can do it for you. It's better. But like I said, I don't like talking about myself, but I'm Ramzu Yunus. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody that they have the power of being somebody that can change everything for everybody via standing up for our right of self-determination. I'm a resident of Detroit, on a mission in Detroit, even though I was born and raised in North Carolina. I went through the usual transformation. I call it the Malcolm X transformation. It's not meaning going to prison in order to wake up. So I went to prison, and that's where I gained my consciousness at. And as a teenager, got out as a young man. And upon getting out, it was on a mission. The mission was to never allow my people to be in the condition where they would have to be in that prison cell where I spent some years at. And of course, that means we have to get rid of oppression. Getting rid of oppression means we have to have our own nation. So I've been on that mission ever since. When I got out, I didn't see much action. I'm from the street, so I always say game recognized game, and I saw that different organizations. There was a lot of rhetoric going on, and I didn't know what to do. I was only 21 years old, so I just left the country and said, I'm moving to Africa. Either you fight or take flight. It's the natural response, fight or flight. I was too young to know how to fight and had nobody fight with me, so I said, I'm taking flight, so I moved to Zimbabwe. Lived there for about 9 years and learned a lot, of course. Those who been following what I've been doing. I ended up working with the president of Zimbabwe, and through him, other presidents, other nations as well, governments as well. But then I finally returned back to America on a mission to push what I saw in Zimbabwe, and that was people governing themselves. So I came back to push the movement for self-determination, the right of self-determination, the right for us to stop complaining, crying about what's going on, about injustice, police brutality, wrongful convictions, a lack of reparations, etc. And say, look, we have a right of self-determination. Wherever we are, we can just stand up and govern ourselves. So that's the mission that I've been on, starting in Detroit. But it's not just for Detroit. Detroit is the motor city, so it's going to be an example to get the rest of Black America going. So that's me in a nutshell, just a nobody.
Far from a nobody. I want to go back to 2016. I was looking for some of the flyers and documents that I received when I ran into a couple hundred of your people out in Highland Park, Michigan. I was actually on a lunch break from work, and I saw, how we say in Cali, a gang of brothers and sisters in all white,
Yeah.
and uniformed up, upright, looking very righteous. You understand? So I immediately got out my car late, getting back, from lunch break and all, and had a nice conversation with the brothers and sisters concerning, what their movement was about. And from that point, I was given some information with, how to get in touch with you so we could have a dialogue concerning, what your movement was about. And it's the same. And what I mean by it's the same is like we, you have your Hebrew Israelites, you have your Nation of Islam, we have the Moors out of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we have Washita Moors, your Massey Moors, a gang of different kind of Moors, a gang of different Hebrew Israelites, a gang of Muslims who, may be Sunni, may be Orthodox or whatnot. And we may have some disagreements when it comes to various beliefs or ideologies, but when it comes to these enemy invaders on lands and territories that they are not indigenous or aboriginal or autochthonous to, it seems that we agree.
Mm-hmm.
So The only thing that's blocking us is something that you believe in and has nothing to do with us as a whole. Now, when you're looking into these various texts, whether you want to refer to them as being ancient texts that go along with these various theologies, you find some gems there. You understand? It just seems to be those who are
Mhm.
in the forefront, run pork chop and pastor pimping and imam slipping, and you know what I'm talking about, and rabbi, pedophile. It seems to be the people, some of the people that are in the power positions don't seem to have the same goals that we have.
Mhm.
So it was very enlightening and refreshing to run into someone like yourself.
Thank you, sister. Likewise.
Yeah, very few speak about human rights and indigenous rights, or even want to speak about reparations, or whether you want to call it restitution or compensation. I don't care how you label it. We know that it is old. We know that nowhere in law, nowhere is any of these banks and major corporations mentioned when it comes to, and I hate to say ownership of the land, because you don't own the land. We are the caretakers of the land and of the estates that our ancestors were the caretakers of. So it's supposed to pass down in that way. For them to go about what, whether you want to talk about mortgage foreclosure or property tax foreclosure or eminent domain, and all of the various ways that they
Mm.
get us to abandon our property or land
Mm.
that is ancestral to us. It, none of that stuff would be a relative to us at all if we were in our proper persons as sovereigns. And I like to hear you speak to that.
Mhm.
What do we still have? What do I have here?
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. No, I agree exactly what you're saying. We must be sovereign. We was once enjoying our self-government and sovereign rights, and somebody came, and some people came and forced us out of that situation. So now we have to put ourselves back into that situation. We can't rely on them. They're definitely not going to put us in that situation. We have to put ourselves into that situation. There was, matter of fact, last year, I want people to pay attention to this and go and Google it. The president of the United States, Joe Biden, he signed a document called the New Atlantic Charter. The New Atlantic Charter. Everybody write that down. New Atlantic Charter. It was a recommitment or confirming a commitment to the old Atlantic Charter that was signed 81 or 80 years prior to last year. That Atlantic Charter, number 3, says that they wish, meaning the President of the United States, who signed it along with the Prime Minister of the UK, United Kingdom, they wish to see sovereign rights and self-government restored. First, they said they respect the right of people to govern themselves, and they wish to see sovereign rights and self-government restored to those who were forcibly deprived of them. So he wishes to see that, but because that's the law. The law says those who are deprived of self-government can govern themselves. It's called the right of self-determination. But self-determination and any right is something that we have to assert. So that's what we're pushing, asserting the right, standing up and saying, look, we're going to govern. There it is there, the New Atlantic Charter. They were reconfirming commit. See, 42 million results of that charter, but yet nobody ever heard of it. But if you Google Chris Brown or Chris Rock getting slapped by Will Smith, it's about 11 million results. But everybody heard about Chris Brown, Chris Rock getting slapped by Will Smith. Now it's a recommitment. If you go and look at Atlantic Charter, go look at the one, that's what they signed a recommitment to, Atlantic Charter. And you can bring that up and show that to the people. So they're saying that they wish to see self-government restored to us, but it's up to us to restore ourselves and take some kind of action. That's what we are talking about doing. That's what we are doing with asserting our right of self-determination in Detroit. See, there is a new Atlantic Charter. See, is another, see, 80 years ago, see, our revitalized charter building on the commitments and aspirations of set out 80 years ago. 80 years ago. So you go to the reaffirming commitment to that. So you go back to the one 80 years ago and you see what we should have already been. And that's governing ourselves, but it's up to us to stand up for that. But that's a powerful document that the president signed last year. Download that along with the original Atlantic Charter that they confirmed commitment to, or affirmed commitment to.
Mm, wow. Okay. All right. All right. Well, it's on the screen as well. You can always go
Yeah.
back to the listening audience, yourself, and get you some jewels. Pick up some of this knowledge. Again,
Indeed.
as the brother just stated, we are aware that Will smack Chris. We are aware that that was just a reenactment of a film, from the early '90s or whatnot. We've all seen it. So how come we don't know about this? It seems to be that this will be way more important. This will trump what two multimillionaires are doing versus.
Indeed. 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 And you know, when Biden first came in office, I don't know if you remember that phone call or whatever kind of conference call or something he had with Negro leaders, and they was crying because he wasn't talking about reparations or something that he wasn't talking about or addressing their needs. But he signed the new Atlantic Charter, committing to the old Atlantic Charter, and those type of things are all we have to look at and say, look, that was our freedom papers right there. There was our reparations right there by him passing or signing that charter and reaffirming commitment to the fact that we do have a right of self-determination. The right of self-determination. That's what it's all about. But it's all when you say sovereignty, etc. But it's something that we have to assert ourselves. It's like he said in the document, we wished to see it restored. He didn't say we're going to restore you. He said we wish to see it. So it's up to us to take the necessary actions to restore ourselves. And that's what we're talking about doing in Detroit. And that's what standing up and saying, look, we declare independence. We are going, oh, I'm in Central Africa and we're having a power outage. But I'm still here.
I'm still here. We still here. You still on.
Yeah, so what we're talking about is assert, standing up and saying, look, we declare independence. If the people agree, our main rallying purpose is not to rally the people to join our religion, not to rally them just to march down the street with us, make us look good because we got a large crowd, but rally them to assert their political will, to assert their right. The most powerful thing that people do in America is vote, because they rally a whole bunch of people to use their political power to put somebody in office. We have the same ability to rally people together to vote for our own independence. And now we take control over the area where those people live. That's how it works. That's how it works all over the world. That's how people get free. That's how oppressed people get free from their colonizers. Yet nobody protests about being victimized by their colonizer, by their oppressor. They simply stand up and assert their right of self-determination to govern themselves and stop complaining about being oppressed. We are the last people on earth to even understand. And 99.9 to I don't know how many other nines don't even know, percent of us don't even know that we have this right of self-determination. So our main job as human rights policy officers, we are informing people that, look, you do have a right of self-determination. Now let's stand and assert that right of self-determination.
Indeed. Well, I think our people kind of got it confused. They confuse movements with uh, popular, iconic scholars.
Mm, mm,
And to them, the movement is following someone
mm,
who they deem to be a scholar. That's not a movement. That's just,
I
a
was Yeah, I was surprised when I came back to America and I saw that the popularity was people who they said was kicking a lot of knowledge on the internet, you know. But that stems from our past. It's a weakened version of our history. But in history, our heroes were the best speakers. Malcolm X could speak good. Martin Luther King could speak good. Our heroes were not people that liberated us, who we never been liberated. But it was people who could best speak up for us and sound good while doing it. Of course, Martin to me was probably the best. We got then Malcolm, we got Minister Farrakhan. So we just idolize and everybody that comes into the movement, we just want to be the next best speaker who can speak and rally a whole bunch of people and get a whole bunch of followers. But where are you leading the followers? Where's the progress? Are we gaining these followers and gathering them together so that we can take over some territory? Or are we just having followers to boost our ego up and say, look, that's the man. He got 1 million followers. He got 2 million. He got 5 million followers. See, it's all a popularity contest, but that's dealing with the people that have been domesticated. We're not really trying to seek our own anyway. So let's just get popular inside somebody else's government. So it's a whole new mindset that will come with self-determination. But now without self-determination, I don't blame my people for having that domesticated mindset. We were born domesticated. The first animal you take out of the wild, it's wild. It wants to get back into the wild. Then when that animal is tamed, then first it doesn't want to go back to the wild. Now that animal has children, and children never been in the wild, never been in their own environment, governing and controlling their own environment. So we are the children of a people that were tamed, that once were in the wild, so to speak, in their own environment that they control. But we were born under someone else's control. So that's all we know. That's all we see. And then we're satisfied with it. But until we break that, of course, but a lot of us, you're not, there's a number of us that are not satisfied with that. And that number of us who's not satisfied with being domesticated under somebody else's system, we have to come together and make the proper stance and not argue over ideologies when we have the same enemy. The enemy is doing the same thing to all of us.
absolute facts. Seems simple, but again, we know, it's a percentage of our people who are very comfortable where they are. And unfortunately, it's even some of our people who are comfortable living just below the poverty line, just at or just above the poverty line. When in fact, again, we all know that nobody should be living at the poverty line. We should not have people living in famine based off the fact that the earth provides enough for everybody. It should not be anyone who is homeless or hungry. See, we like to talk about jobs. It's they're making jobs available. They're making wait, hold on. Are people paying attention to what they have labeled as inflation? They talk about a loaf of bread being 5 cents, some years ago when our parents were children. So how a loaf of bread go from 5 cents to $5? Like if you
Good
like,
question.
certain
Good question.
bread, you don't want the white bleach bread necessarily, and it don't always have to be the wheat bread. What if you like the Jewish challah egg bread? You know what I'm saying? Then you're gonna pay $6 and $7 for a loaf of bread. I'm saying it is more to
Indeed.
what you have been exposed to in your little realm of existence where you're comfortable, but other people are starving to death, hungry, homeless, not able to take care of their hygiene in a proper manner. No one do you know how much water is on the earth?
Mm,
Right?
mm, mm.
Make it make sense. You can't make it make sense that you can produce things like cell phones and diamond rings and Rolls Royces, and you know what I'm talking about. But
Indeed.
all of
Indeed.
these things, you put a
Mm,
price tag on it. But everything came out of the earth. Everything that made this phone came out the earth, right? Everything,
indeed.
this spring water came out. Whatever it is, These diamonds, they came out the earth. This gold came out the earth. These silver conductors, all of these things that they're using came out the earth, which is
Indeed.
supposed to provide for everybody. It's not supposed to be where they have monopolized everything, right? But just think about it. If you could get away with doing it, and if people don't stand up for it, then what do you think is going to
Mm.
happen? And that is the ultimately that's what the problem is. From my viewpoint, I'm not the
Indeed.
sharpest knife in the drawer, but I understand that if you got a apple orchard, and when it produces, you allow me to take all the damn apples. Every year I'm gonna come get, every season I'm gonna come get all the
Hmm.
apples. They your apples. And you gonna
Yeah.
watch me come and get them. And as I'm stealing your apples, I'm attracting warriors and soldiers because they hungry and they want the apples too. So now guess what? We outnumber you. We gonna come get your
Hmm.
apples, your oranges, your grapes. We gonna come take it all now because you allowed it to happen. You understand?
Mm.
Our people feel as though
Hmm.
they don't have control. They always like to say, well, how we gonna be starving when we don't have a military? Okay, how out of tune have you been? You haven't heard of the Black Panthers or the Panthers? You didn't hear of the Not Effing Around coalition? You know what I'm saying? We tried to say, well, that brother's a fraud or that sister's a fraud. Why? Why do you say these things? Because you're repeating this satire, racist, neo-Nazi, QAnon crap. You know, like
Hmm.
I can't believe how many it's so many people who just read Behold a Pale Horse last year and this year. We was reading that book in 1997 when we were children. Well,
Indeed.
out to 20, the stuff
Yes.
is
I
not
re-
new. These conspiracy theories is shit ain't new. It's never provided nothing for us. We just made them wealthy off of, promoting their information and spreading it. Did nothing at all for us. Uh-oh. Uh well, we know what that mean, y'all. We're gonna definitely get the brother back ASAP. We're gonna try to work with it right now and see what happens. And if we're not able to get him back in today, we'll definitely do it again this week before the gathering on Woodward here in Detroit on the 17th. That's Saturday the 17th. Let me find some visuals for you all right quick. Right? We knew, you know what I'm saying? Did you actually think the people who own this venue was gonna let me and this brother, you know what I mean, stay on for long? We gonna get it together though. Again, we had some power outages up here as well, really bad last week. So we're not immune to it, and but we're not trying to get used to it. Again, whatever grids that they're running off of these energy centers that you call cities, these cities are ancient, or what they have labeled as city, because the word city is not an ancient word. It is not. I don't care where you found it, you can take it back. Now we want to talk about villages and clans and empires and dominions, and we can talk about these things, right? Again, before your ancestors erected empires, they didn't exist, right? They did not exist. Show it to me prior. So I want to share the photos before, and I'm gonna check the line and see what's going on with the warrior Ramzu, with his connection. Again, he first of all his power went out, you know. So I don't even think he's in the country. I think he's still, wait, let me see. Y'all know me, I don't like to make no false statements. So I don't want to say he's not here. But if I'm not mistaken, he did mention the fact that he's not even here. So again, the brother has been very active throughout, um He's been active everywhere. You understand? You heard him say he's originally from North Carolina. For him to make the decision to come to what we call Dey-Twah or the D or Detroit was very wise. And you have to understand why he made that decision. You have to understand why, although Dr. Claude Anderson, peace to the elder, is in a different category somewhat than Brother Ramzu. My point is this: if you are hip to Dr. Claude Anderson, you know for a fact why he recommend that the brothers and sisters come to Detroit to kick off a movement, right? And let me school you on why. Now these some of these statistics are prior to 2008, but as I always tell y'all, our we have a history of when things are coming. Some of our ancestors who were astronomers, they knew certain shit was coming. Y'all know how maybe a tsunami or a tornado or a hurricane or something, a natural disaster is about to occur, and the animals know to get the fuck on, but you don't. You know what I mean? Because you abandoned your ancient cosmologies and the stuff that our ancestors did. We abandoned that shit, right? So I can talk about how in the beginning, really, in I want to say 2002, all the way up until 2009. Prior to that, the city of Detroit had over 1 million melanated men, women, and children in it. There are cities that are larger than the city of Detroit, but let me give you some more statistics where we come in at. Y'all know y'all called it Motown, Motor City, or whatnot, due to what they call the big three: Chrysler, GM, and Ford, right? Well, not only was this the most populated so-called black city, but we had the most homeowners, right? So go back to 2008 and think about the, what do they call it? The various crashes in the uh, real estate market and how people abandoned. They basically abandoned they shit. Now, whether you want to bring in fraudulent terms or unlawful shit like mortgage foreclosure or property tax foreclosure is what pushed people out of the city, right? That's a fact. I'm not saying that is not, but I want to remind you all that this has happened before. It's happened centuries ago. You know what I'm talking about? Like, this ain't the first time. Many of you are very versed in scholars. Y'all know about Snake Isle, or what we call Belle Island, Belle Isle right now. We've been at war. We've been at war. Just right now, we have amnesia because we have been indoctrinated from the womb. Christmas, Easter. Not to say that our ancestors didn't celebrate. They didn't celebrate a Christmas or Easter, but those particular seasons, when you're talking about a winter solstice, or whether you're talking about a mating season, because that's what Easter was about, or Ishtar or Isis, and you know what I mean? This, let me see. Where is it at? Let me see. See if I can get the brother back on here. Because I don't want to start talking about belief systems and ideologies, because that's not what we came here to do. Again, this particular city where we are, just imagine any city having over 1 million melanated people, not only as homeowners, but your city council, your mayor, everything short of the governor, melanated. It's like, to my brothers and sisters in Chicago, y'all have aldermen and alderwomen. You know what I'm talking about? We have city council here. We had from 1974 to 1994, we had the same melanated mayor. There go my brother. Okay. And that's Coleman A. Young. That's where we will be at Saturday. Where we at? Why I do all that?
Oh, electricity is back.
Right. Okay. Why? Wait a minute. I got you, but I don't got you on the when I go. Okay, I know why. Cause I got that shared up there. Boom. So I'm this 2015. Hold on. Hold on. Let me go back. I got the wrong one up there. We glad to have you back.
Yes, fam. Thanks. Cross your fingers.
Right. Let's see it. Let me do some work here. Okay, that was the one that was up already. It was another one. Let's back it up a little bit. Was it this one? Nah, that ain't it. I went back to the same one. Don't mind me. You could pick up where you left off at.
You was just saying how people are just now reading those books like Behold the Pale Horse. And but it's, you said those are old. Like I read it in what, around '94. Yeah, but it's new to those who are just seeing it. But it's up to us who know that to take care of that situation right now, so that those who are in the future won't even have to read that book to worry about what's happening, what they're doing, what they're going to do, because have already solved that problem. Our duty is not to pass on our struggle to the next generation. Which flower are you looking for?
I see it. It's on my page. So I'm trying to
Okay.
let's see if I can. I know how to do it. Let me see. Oh, okay. Let's see. You got a website. Let's see for boom. Oh, this is dope. Okay, so I could take all this. Boom. You see, you see.
Yes, that's our website, the Republic of Detroit website, detroitgov.us. We're a real city. We got to take charge of the city and administrate it like we are in control, just like the illegitimate government has a website, administration, etc. So we have the same thing as well. And departments, you can go in there and register at our housing department for a house amongst the hundreds of thousands of empty properties in Detroit. So we, of course, got that website. We also have another website, council.detroitgov.us, which is an interactive website because we want to bring more of a direct democracy to the people so that people can participate in governing themselves. So that's more of an informative website, signing up for housing, etc. But the other website, we have a portal and a server that goes along with it so that the people can govern themselves. It's an interactive government website, but that's the website. Yeah.
Property tax foreclosure war. Just imagine. Oh my god. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay.
And that's the registration to be a citizen of the Republic of Detroit and give consent is withdraw consent from the illegitimate government. And it's a page where you can sign up for housing and go search for a house, and we'll register you for that house. And the reparations app page as well, etc.
Um, okay. Okay, and I see join a video conference Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Okay. Boom. Okay. Anything else you would like for me to throw up on the screen?
No, that's okay. I had a couple of things, but now it's this my system is not working properly that I want to share, but it's okay. It's okay. We just said most verbally anyway, but I want to just share some documents from various lawyers, some of their conference proceedings, like in 1993, a group of lawyers, not a group of lawyers, a whole bunch of lawyers from various sectors, would be professors of law, judges, lawyers. One of them is even Attorney General now of Minnesota. They had the conference on self-determination in 1993. And what we do on our conference call is usually share those documents so that people can see what the law professionals of the United States know. The black ones know. Well, white ones know it as well. But black law professionals, some esteemed ones, had a conference in 1993 about the right of self-determination because the United States government actually ratified the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights in late 92. So these lawyers found it important enough to actually hold a conference considering that, because once they signed that or ratified that document, it protected the right of self-determination. So these lawyers were saying that, look, black people, we should frame our struggle on something different. They said the same thing Malcolm X and Martin Luther King said 60 years ago. We should leave the domestic legal system and civil rights alone and go into human rights. Number one human right, the right of self-determination. So instead of protesting, instead of voting, instead of trying to seek a redress for our grievances and all the injustices we suffer inside this system, we can actually stand up and govern ourselves. These lawyers know this. So they had a conference concerning that in 1993. So immediately black leadership should have got behind that and would be free by now. Matter of fact, 93, 94 was the year I was going into prison. If I knew that, then I probably would have stood up myself. Instead of shooting somebody else, I would have shot the enemy in my quest to be liberated and have self-determination. But nobody picked up on those things. And those lawyers, they work for the domestic legal system. They're not going to go too far into actually being an activist and revolutionary and trying to organize us to assert our right of self-determination. But they did have those conferences and let us know that, look, black people, there is another option that you have instead of relying on this domestic legal system to redress the grievances that we have. That's what I had the document I wanted to share, but the system is not working correctly. But there it is. I just spoke it out anyway. But it's on our conference call. Those who are listening, you're welcome to our conference call to hear all this information and see all of this information. We have that conference call 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, so that we can inform some self-determination orientation, so we can orientate our people, introduce them to the right of self-determination, hoping that if you are of sound mind and you know that you have a right of self-determination, we would not be doing what we are doing currently. We wouldn't be participating in these actions.
Well, you see where I went to the 1959 rights of a child to a name and nationality.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I'm gonna pull up
I can't recall ever reading this one.
Yeah. It's the Declaration of Rights of the Child, 1959. This
Mm-hmm.
basically, anytime that we will bring up the Indigenous Rights Declaration through the UN, we always make sure that we mention the Declaration of the Rights of the Child to a name and nationality. Um, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
1924. Well, you know, in 1924 was still the League of Nations, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
1948, and
Well, yes, when UN
Ralph
was formed.
Bunchen and the rest of the crew, gathered up to create the United Nations. This was on the table, and you have to ask: the rights of a child, and children didn't
Mm-hmm.
have rights in 1959. Think about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the regime that we're dealing with, and like you just
Yeah.
mentioned, you speak of remedy and recourse. many just complain. We all know that we're dealing with foreign invaders, and we're under military occupation and all of these things. But
Mm-hmm.
what's the remedy, and what's the recourse to that?
Mm-hmm.
People seem to, not everybody, but many seem to not want to touch that topic.
Mm-hmm. If they don't, that's why the law itself is another declaration, a declaration on rights and responsibilities. If the state is not going to repair or remedy the wrong that they have done, it is up to the people themselves to remedy. That's why we're calling our action a humanitarian intervention. We have to intervene ourselves and correct those wrongs. And if the main focus on this document was what the right to nationality is, why you focused on it.
My apologies, I had the mute on. See here, it say the child is recognized universally as a human being who must be able to develop physically, mentally, socially, morally, and spiritually with freedom and dignity. I mean, there's various sections or whatnot, articles, excuse me, within it.
Mm-hmm.
But as you start to go through it and read it, you start researching, you find out that they were forcing children. Wait, they are. I'm not gonna say word, because if it
Yeah,
was in the
it
past tense,
continues.
then it would be for this
It
declaration, right?
continues. Yeah.
So right now they're still committing what do you call all of these human rights violations
Violation.
all over
Hmm.
the place.
Indeed, indeed. So we have some work to do. You have some work to do. That's what they are. That's what they do. The question is, what do we do? How do we respond to this? Do we respond with a bunch of rhetoric, or do we take action? You know, uh, Action has been lacking. We have a lot of different groups that know their rights. They know they have a right to be sovereign. They know this. They know they have a right to nationality. But where's your land so you can have a nation on? You have to stand up and actually take some territory, which is lawful as well. But it comes, of course, with some opposition, and most people don't want to face that opposition. So we have to be, if you're not willing to face that opposition, then you might as well just succumb and bow down and just follow along with what's going on with the status quo. But if you are courageous and really love yourself and love your kind, then you will stand up and do what is necessary. We shouldn't have to be in 2022 talking about self-determination, trying to assert our right of self-determination when we have a lot of organizations that believe in the right of self-determination, a lot of organizations that believe in sovereignty. They should have stood up years ago if they believe in sovereignty. So here we go in 2022, standing up to assert our right of self-determination. But we're not going to dwell on the past. We're just going to do it. And we invite those who believe in sovereignty to stand up with us, and let's go beyond the rhetoric, because the rhetoric is not going to save the lives of our children. The rhetoric is not going to secure the future for our posterity. Only action will secure that future. So we're inviting all those who believe in nationality, who believe in being sovereign, to stand up and let's assert our sovereignty. It's not going to fall out of the sky. You guys actually have to stand up and take control of some land, and there goes your sovereignty. There goes some land that you can really have a nationality on. When people say their nationality, they may say, okay, my nationality is I'm South African. They got a land called South Africa that's in control of a South African government. They have a land called Mexico that's in control by a Mexican government. Likewise, we have to have a land that we can have that nationality and actually control. So stand up, people. Let's stand up. Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. I'm familiar with that one. But the main covenant that was ratified by the United States 1992, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights.
Okay, it came on up. Here you go. Boom.
There it is. The number one thing it says is all peoples have the right of self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. If you scroll down to Article 1. And that's why those lawyers in 1993, those attorneys and doctors of law had that conference, because this is a big deal when they ratified this in 1992, the United States government. Ratification means it became the supreme law of this country, of the United States. And there it is. Number one, all peoples have the right of self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural status. First, you determine a political status. That political status gives you control of the land. Now you can name your nation, and now you got your nationality with some land to go with that nationality now that you control. But it's up to us to make sure that this happens. Nobody else is going to do it. The founding fathers had that same right. It wasn't given by this document, it was just acknowledged by this document, but they had the right of self-determination, so they determined their political status for themselves, and that was independence. Likewise, wherever we are, we can stand up as a collective and unilaterally declare independence, and now we control that land. It's as simple as that. So you're saying we don't have enough Moors, we don't have enough Black nationalists, we don't have enough conscious people that don't believe in this government or are dissatisfied with this government to stand up and say, look, we declare independence? Of course we do. You don't have enough people in Detroit that have been illegally evicted to stand up? Of course we do. So it's up to us to rally those people together and stand up, and nothing can stop us lawfully. And if they try to stop us, then that's up to us as men to stand up and defend against anybody that oppose us asserting our human right. It's as simple as that. It's not rocket science. You don't need a scholar. You need an internet scholar to tell you that with 500,000 followers to tell you that. I wish those internet scholars just stand up with their people, and that'd be a bit of rap. They got 500,000 followers. That's 500,000 soldiers. We can make this thing happen tonight. But we just want to entertain. Yeah, but thanks for sharing that. Go ahead.
Saturday on the 17th, what time are we all coming together?
Okay, Saturday 17th. Yeah, I got to get on another call in a few minutes. Saturday the 17th, 9 a.m. Coleman Young Building. 9 a.m. Coleman Young Building. That's on number 2 Woodward Avenue. Number 2 Woodward Avenue. Yeah. The purpose of the gathering, of course, is we already declared independence, but we just reaffirming that, as well as showing the consent of the people, registering more people, and we're going out and we're occupying as we have been doing, but we'll have more strength coming into the city to secure that occupation, taking every last property that's empty and giving it to the people, because this is our territory. Detroit belongs to us, so we have a right to do that. We just calling on people to be the strength behind that. More men to stand up. It's the problem. Men haven't been standing up with us, but September the 17th, we expect all of you who are listening that are men, well, women as well, but mainly the men, it's their duty. It's our duty to stand up and secure our people. So that's what we're on September the 17th. It's a humanitarian intervention. We have a right to intervene and stop the human rights abuses instead of having all those marches in Detroit. You've seen the marches have been happening in Detroit for the past, 15 years or so. Water shutoffs, the human rights violation, even had famous actors, etc., involved in those marches. Water is a human rights violation. Stop the illegal evictions. Those are violations. Just stole $600 million in tax property, stole over billions and billions of dollars worth in properties they stole from the people. But yet all we're going to do is march about it when we have a right to take it back and house our people, that they have lives who they have destroyed with those actions, and lives who they have destroyed in general with us even being in the condition we are in because of slavery. So we have to do something about it. So we're calling on those who are men, those who have sound mind, those who are not afraid of this system and who know that this system is not going to do us right, to stand up and let's assert our right to change the system and become the system ourselves. That's what we're calling on. September the 17th, we'll see you at the Coleman Young building or thereafter engage in actions as well. Go ahead.
For the old heads, the city county building, because that's what it was formerly known before they changed it to the Coleman A. Young building.
The city county building, number 2 Woodward Avenue, the city county building.
The address.
Everybody be there. Everybody who is not in agreement with the current regime, current government, you should be there. You have a right to dismiss them. And I know everybody listening. Nobody is listening to you anyway. Definitely don't agree with that government. So exercise your right to get rid of them and govern yourselves. If you know you have the right, why don't you do it? So if you don't do it, it's your fault. It's your fault when they blow the brains out of another 7-year-old girl. It's your fault. It's your fault when they evict 100,000 more people in one summer alone. It's your fault. It's your fault that people are over in Detroit, thousands and thousands of people without water. Right now as we speak, without water. It's your fault. It's your fault there's 40,000 literally homeless people. It's your fault. It's your fault that 80% or more of the population of Detroit is functionally homeless, when there's hundreds of thousands of properties where all of us can live nice. It's your fault for not standing up. So stand up and let's take responsibility. Nobody's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all. Thank you for having me on this show, sister, for helping us get the message out to our people. We pray that this resonates with the people. We know that it will resonate with sound minds and those who have enough love in their heart not to fear any opposition from the illegitimate government. Love you, sister. Thanks.
Love you as well, brother. Appreciate you for coming through.
All right. Salute, everybody. Love y'all.
Peace.
Said I'm smoke, fire, blowing air, carbon, earth, solid, water, wet. I'm steady beat, a sister soldier that dies effects. So gone with all that hoopla and rah-rah. Unless you talking about Atun, Namuna, Amara, pineal glands, all seeing eyes. We call the third eye. We came to build, not pay your bill. Slam municipality, city seals like roadkill, descendants of ancient mound builders. Not supposed to need encyclopedias, genetically encoded with 720. We got amnesia, claiming we Christian Cretans in love with Yahweh, Muhammad, and Jesus. But you was living inside of God when you was a fetus. But believers and never believers, non-believers, cause we don't be lying, shaking hands and taking oaths with demons.